Welcome to another episode of The Insider's Guide to Custom Homes. I'm your host, Rick Bell, and today I'm thrilled to be joined by a true icon in the world of interior design, Perla Lichi. Perla has been on the forefront of luxury design for decades, transforming homes around the world with her fearless use of color, patterns, and textures. She's an award-winning designer, an author of several beautifully photographed coffee table books, and a creative visionary whose work has graced everything from oceanfront estates in South Florida to palaces in Dubai. Perla's passion for design is matched only by her talent for storytelling through space, and I've had the privilege of collaborating with her on numerous homes in South Florida over the past 27 years. Her distinctive global style and eye for detail continue to inspire clients and professionals alike. Today, we'll explore her journey, her design philosophy, and what it really takes to bring bold ideas to life in custom homes. Welcome, Perla.
Well, hello.
Thank you for being on the Insider's Guide to Custom Homes.
Yes.
You and I have known each other for a lot of years and collaborated on several projects. So let's just talk about how you got your start in interior design. You said earlier, we were just kind of chatting that, you're known as Perla because you've always loved the colors you seem to always have a knack for interior design. So how did you get started? What inspired you?
Well, it's interesting. You were looking at one of the books and it says they call me Purple Perla.
It's everywhere.
I mean, I guess it's because purple, is the color of passion, and I'm just a passionate person, and I was just attracted to that color. But it doesn't mean when I decorate their home, they're going to get it unless they request it. Okay. If they want purple, come to me. But we do every type of style, which is, I got to be honest with you, that's been the secret of my success. And if I have to say what interior design is to me, yes, it's knowing your space planning, knowing your scale, knowing style, but more than anything, knowing the person.
I mean, you have a knack for it, obviously, but where did you start? What was the genesis? What were the roots of your?
How I started? Yeah. Well, when I was 3 years old.
No, not 3 years old. Let's fast forward.
No, seriously. I took my mother's international doll collection that she traveled all over the world, and I decided to take the dolls, and I actually nailed them on the wall. Like I wanted to create a feature wall. I created a feature wall.
A 3-year-old's feature wall. I love it.
I did. I just hung it. One of them was like that. One of them was like that. I posed them and did this design on the wall with dolls, 3D. And my mother says, "What are you, a decorator?" I guess I must have stuck, but no, it did. It was destiny more than anything, if I have to tell you the real story. Wow. I mean, that was real though.
But then it just continued on, and did you start as an apprentice, or did you just go into it on your own?
An apprentice, maybe at school I was a teacher's apprentice, okay, but really I was the artist in school. Let's go back to high school. I was always the one painting the walls. I'm an artist.
So you have a flair for art.
Yeah, it's all about art. To me, interior design is art. Interior design is my art. Once I understand the client, then I will design or paint a beautiful painting that suits them. So how it happened was I really wanted to be a fashion designer.
So who were your influences? Were there certain designers that you related to?
At the time, I don't even remember names from the 80s. We're talking about the 80s.
Versace was big back then. I know that's big in your
early
in your days.
81. I mean, I go back a while now. I started my college in 1981. Okay, so I don't think there was a Versace at the time, but I just like style, fashion, color. But what I did do is I wanted to go to fashion design school, but by coincidence, or let's call it by destiny, I won a scholarship to the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale because I entered a contest and I won. So it's like my parents were like, great, 17-year-old, okay, free college. So destiny took me towards the interior design career since the early 80s. And then I graduated with honors because I love what I do. And I always wanted to think outside the box. If somebody was doing neutrals, I did color. If somebody was doing modern, I did classic. I always
you were like buck the trend.
Pretty much.
You don't care what other people do.
I had fun with it, you know.
Exactly.
So I just, you know, you have this like passion with design and decor, and this is like 80s, and then it went on and on and on. And I just decided I'm the kind of person that I need to do my thing. Because I did work for other designers at the time.
Yeah, I think you have to start somewhere.
Yes,
I
did.
How the business works.
Oh, I did. I worked for many designers, and some residential designers, some commercial designers. There was one company that used to design Lord & Taylor's department stores. There, Pavlik at the time, Pavlik, okay? Mm-hmm. They were on Las Olas Boulevard, I remember. And then there was also other companies that I worked for, bank designs. So what I learned was that commercial design was okay, but I couldn't really be as, you know, it wasn't as personalized because I'm a people person.
They have like standards. You have to just
too many rules.
Yeah,
too many
rules. No, you're not big on guardrails.
No. We need to make it more personalized to each person. I'm a people person. Remember what I always ask you? When's your birthday? I always ask people,
you're big on
the thing with the astrology, right?
Astrology, celestial, you know, the yoga.
Yeah, that's
there's
important.
Something innate, I guess, in every person, and I guess maybe, you know, the astrology kind of highlights.
It's a tool. For me, it's a tool because if you think about it, I've been designing all over the world, which I'll get to how that happened. I ended up on the other side of the world, also by destiny. And no matter what culture and no matter what country you are designing, there's only 12 signs, 12 astrology signs. So if I understand my signs, like I know you're a Capricorn.
How did you remember?
I just remember. I may forget people's names, but I'll never. So already I know my direction. I'm going to know you're going to want the quality, you're going to want the earthy, you're going to want timeless things, you know. So I understand that particular, I'm going to use it, you know, like a direction. So being a people person for me and understanding the people has been also what has made me also stand out, because then I'm able to switch from vanilla to chocolate and all of that based on what the person is for their design.
So it's nice when you actually listen to your clients, because there are a lot of designers that they'll hear you, but maybe not listen and kind of push you into their zone that they're comfortable with. And you can kind of see there's like when you see your designs, like I said, I don't say it's all over the board, but it's different flavors.
It's each person. Everybody gets what their soul is comfortable with. You know, that particular style. That obviously also their budget, their needs, their lifestyle, their culture. All of those things come into play. So you do ask for a
budget, because we're big on this saying design to budget. And if we at least know where they're starting from, we'll know what category and where they fit in the spectrum of custom homes. Because, you know, a $500 square foot home is going to be a lot different than a $2,500.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I assume the same thing applies to interior design.
Yes, you have to know your I'm going to use the word boundary direction. You know, I can give you a sofa for $1,000. I can give you $1,000 for $18,000. It's going to determine where the sofa comes from, the type of fabric we use. So if I understand the budget, or at least I'm going to use the word the
range,
the range between this and this, then I'm going to work with that. Very importantly, because why am I going to create all these renderings and all of a sudden they get the proposals and where did that happen? No, you need to understand, number one, to me, I need to understand the person. I need to understand who I'm dealing with, the person, their needs, their culture, obviously the style, direction, for sure the budget, because you put those two together, what else is there? But to get creative and give them the best, number one, for their needs, and obviously for the dollar. Put the money where you see it. That's a very important for me to do.
Yep. I used to have a friend, put the money where you trip over it.
Oh, well, I like that one.
It was a good saying, and we use that in our business, because when you walk in that foyer, that first 3 seconds, you know if you love or don't love that house, and it's really important. That's the money shot.
Where you see it, where there's going to be certain places where you could not spend all this money because it's not necessary, but then you put it there and then it's like you balance it. You have to be able to balance everything. I'll give you a fashion idea. You can get a basic black dress, but now you take a magnificent belt with jewels. That dress all of a sudden looks like wow.
It pops.
But no one knows it's just a basic black dress. I mean, that's just an example.
Sure.
You know, the handbag, the jewelry, but things like that, you bring it up to that level.
So it's not about how much you spend, it's how you use the money.
Yes, that's the key. It's how you put it together, where you put it, and how it balances with everything else. So yeah, no, it's very important.
Well, that's cool. So you published several stunning coffee table books that showcase your design style. What inspired you to bring about, you know, this aspect of your work to come up with these books?
The books?
How many books have you done so far?
7.
7. And in front of me, I have number 7.
Yeah, that's number 7.
This is number 7.
That's number 7 a year ago.
So Perla just brought this. It says, you can't make this up. And we were just kind of flashing through the book. And of course, you come across the color purple. And
yeah, you just happen to open
just
it.
happen to open it. It's not all about purple.
Right.
Although
there's some neutral.
we have a little bit more.
That's another. That's all the same apartment.
But we have some Versace inspired influences in here.
Yes.
And you know, it's not all about dramatic color. Some of it's
there's
just
a lot of
about,
earth.
You know,
there's earth.
Some beautiful earth tones here and some silvers and grays and light, comfortable colors. So again, it's about the client and what they look for in their you know, in their own design for the home that they're going to live in. Because
it's about the person, taste, and style for sure. And I think 90% of the design when I'm doing it is the person itself, because I'm thinking about that one person and relating to all the things they told me. And then based on that, that's where the direction goes. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to wake up there. They're the ones that are going to go to sleep there. They're the ones that are going to live there. So I like purple. I'm Purple Perla. It doesn't mean my clients are getting that.
Right. So you kind of balance the dramatic elements, but with if you're a transitional person, I can tone it down for you, but still give you some pop.
Definitely gotta have pop, and that's the thing. I can't do boring.
No.
It's kind of like my tagline now, because I just can't do boring. You know, you gotta have some pop. You gotta have some standout features, because that's what's gonna make it different than the rest.
So how do you define, you know, what is a truly custom interior? What does luxury mean to you?
Oh, luxury. Okay. For sure, luxury to me is all about the materials that are being used, the materials, the textures, all of the quality items, the type of fixtures you use. Let's talk about a custom home. You know, you could get a basic home where they're doing 30 of the same homes, but then you can do a custom home. Now you get to do custom. Now you get to design. Your ceilings, to me, are very important. The ceilings.
So the reflective ceiling plan. So you have coffers and curves and domes and
all of that, domes, because to me, the ceiling is what tops you, what hugs you. The flooring. When I think of design, I think of it like a cake, 3-layer cake. The bottom, the middle, which is the cream, and then the frosting, the icing. So the middle layer is the space planning, how it flows, the functionality, the space planning of the whole furniture, the layout, the walls, and that. Obviously, the flooring, because the flooring transitions, a lot of the times, you can do all the same, but you can also play with borders, you can play with inserts and things like that you already know where the furniture is located, so you're able to design those inserts or accents, let's call it. Right. In addition, comes the icing on the cake. The icing on the cake is kind of like everything, coordinating the bottom, the middle, and the top.
So you think in 3D. You don't
3D. That ceiling has to be, the lighting has to be placed around the space planning. I may not even have walls dividing the space. The ceilings divide the space. There's no walls. There looks like one giant room, looks like 3 rooms, but it's really, it's one room just psychologically divided by the ceiling layers, the coffers, the heights, the volume, the lighting. So that's the icing on the cake. To me, that's custom.
Yeah, and you mentioned lighting, because, you know, today lighting is, you can just do so much with it. I mean, 20 years ago, it was just coming out with their LED, but now it's reality, and you can change light, color, you can change the intensity, you can change how it, if it's a reflective light coming up, is it shooting down? Is it shooting out? It's all over the board. So how do you kind of play with light?
Well, LED is my best friend. Especially the lineal LEDs, because that you can actually have a flat ceiling and just the LED itself. You can do layouts. You can, do interesting effects with it, the dimmable and this and that. And they also, have to keep changing that bulb, And then you can plan all of that. When I've designed ceilings, you plan all your mechanical ahead of time based on your lighting. Then you don't end up with a drop or a vent and all that in the middle of your beautiful ceiling. So you plan all those things together and, you play with layers and glows and all of that.
Do you use lighting consultants, or do you say, you pretty much have it down to a science?
No,
because different people have different perceptions of how light works.
Well, that's interesting. You will need a lighting consultant at one point because of the different loads. If you have a load for this and load for that and the panel and this, let them figure that technical stuff out. I just want to look good because it's got to flow with the space planning and that.
So that's our job as a builder.
Yes, you got to look at that. You may not. And we do suggest where the switches should go and all that. But then you have all the other low voltage integrations.
Yeah,
and all that.
Lutron today just makes it
just going to say
because you can program features where this goes
yes,
on with that.
Yes,
there,
the iPhone.
Lights come down, the sound comes on, and the automation.
Yes. That's where they come in because they know all the toys. But I'm more interested in the layout, the design, how it flows, like you said, three-dimensionally with the flooring, with the space, with the furniture. How it all, and then the lighting consultant will tell us all this, 4K, 5K. They're the ones that help us with that and finalize it based on the design that we give as a starting point.
Yeah, so, it is a lot of fun today.
I love it.
We have a lot of fun just because there's just so many things we can do today that we couldn't do 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah,
so the evolution of building and design has really come a long way.
So true.
Just want to talk a little bit about Dubai. Because you spent a lot of years in Dubai, you built palaces there for the royalty. So what did those experiences teach you about scale, materials, culture, expression? How does that now kind of translate?
So much. It was a huge 15-year period of a lot of learning. Definitely the culture, which I totally enjoyed. It's an interesting culture and I enjoyed it. I lived it. Construction systems and way of building. There everything is concrete. Like here we have the drywall partitions. None of that. Everything is concrete.
So all the interior walls are concrete?
All the interior walls are concrete. Exterior.
Did that create any challenges for you when you have
hanging
walls?
a picture is not like you can't just, I couldn't just take my nail and like I normally, they're all in between. You have, all of that. The finishing is different. The time frame is different. One project took me 7 years. We could have done it here in 18 months.
And that's because of the client or just the way they build?
Combination. Some of them, like for example, they don't mortgage it. They don't have construction loans. There's no construction loans, so they're paying cash. All of a sudden, they decide to stop for 6 months because they needed more money. So 6 months, nothing happens. They're bringing in crews from all over the world. They're bringing in people from India, from Pakistan, from Egypt. So all these different people are coming in as a workforce because Dubai.
So it's a really international.
Very international. Dubai, their workforce, they're coming from other places. They get a resident visa, a work visa. They get supplied their accommodation and they get to do the actual work. And then you need 1 or 2 project managers. And then you need the project manager of the project manager. And I was the babysitter of the babysitter.
So what was the typical staff on like a palace you had? 10 people, 100 people, 50 people?
In the construction part, more. Okay. And they were always coming from different countries. So the owner would bring in, let's say, there was one where we were doing all these incredible, like mashrabia, marquetry, they call it the gypsum ceilings, where it looks like lace.
And this is like hand sculpted?
On the ceiling, yeah. So it's kind of like plaster, but they do it by hand. So we had a team of 18 people on scaffolds for almost 9 months just doing 2 ceilings.
Little Michelangelo's up there.
Everything there is a whole different pace. You don't give a deadline, put it that way, because it's a whole different cultural way of building.
So are the details much more refined there than you find here in Florida, or just a different mindset?
It's just different. I mean, you can find some beautiful finishes there coming from all over the world, from Turkey, from Italy. I mean, the resources are great, but getting it done is another story. It's not like here. People, I mean, how can I say that? The workforce is different, it's just a whole different story. It wasn't one time I was in Qatar, in Doha, and I had to go check the electrical, and they did all the concrete. Well, there was no electrical. So I took my plan, because another thing is the language barrier, because a lot of the workforce doesn't speak English.
So did you have, I guess your superintendent spoke English to help translate?
Some did, some didn't. And by the time you explain it to them, by the time it gets to the others, they may not even do it right. So what I decided to do is I took my plan, and I actually drew the switches exactly where I wanted them on the concrete wall with the black spray paint. And I said, because they would put, imagine you have this gorgeous wall, right? Like a 15-foot wall. And all of a sudden, the light switch is 7 feet in. What are you going to do? I'm going to hang the picture over you can't. So they don't plan the location of light switches. There's no code a lot of the time. So I went around and I actually marked with a spray paint.
So you learned to communicate.
Well, guess what happened?
Oh, no.
You want to laugh? I went back 2 months later to check the electrical. Well, none of it was done, and they had plastered over all my markings. I had to do it all over again.
We didn't know what that was.
Oh, they didn't even know what I was talking about. There was new people there, new workers there, so I had to do it again. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's a different way of building.
So how do you weave those international influences into your work today? Do you take some of that back with you here to America?
Oh yeah, my resources.
So you do some manufacturing, right? You built relationships with manufacturers. Yes. I know you did some hand carved, custom made pieces. You had people that carved some details that went on the walls. I just remember some very intricate
resources.
Patterns
all of that.
So all those continue to or can work for you still here in the States?
I continue bringing things in from different, not necessarily from Dubai, but there is Turkey, there is Indonesia, there is different places.
And this is your furniture mostly? What's the primary thing you
area rugs from India, gorgeous. We we design them, and they are all hand tufted wool and silk, unbelievable. We're bringing in mosaics from Turkey. We're doing custom pieces of furniture. Let's say I want to do a hand-carved chair that you can't find. We'll design it, and they will make it, and they will ship it already finished, and we just put the fabric on.
So you give them the colors and general idea of pattern, and they kind of give you maybe like a shop drawing type of thing, and say, this is what we're doing, Perla. And do you do it through a Zoom call, or you do it through emails?
Email with drawings.
And they understand your language.
Yeah.
Wow. And same thing with furniture.
We work with them for a long time.
I know you custom.
And now we're doing a lot of WhatsApp also. Boop, I need this. Boop, 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 boop.
That's big.
Yeah.
That's big. So if you want to design a piece of furniture, a custom piece for a client, do you hand sketch it and then send that over? Do you put it in CAD?
I hand sketch everything. It starts on my tracing paper roll. I hand sketch it. I put the dimensions. I pass it on to CAD. CAD does it already, technical, and then it goes to them. And then sometimes we make a 3D model of it.
And do they put the fabric on there and ship it, or do you do the upholstery when it comes to
It America? Depends. Some places will do the fabric there if the fabrics are good from that country. If not, we'd rather ship it here, and we can do fabric from anywhere. So we customize it that way. And then you can't find the same piece anywhere else.
So this craftsmanship, how does that play a role in your work product today when you deal with a client? Kind of separate you from the pack, because I'm sure that's a very unique skill that very few people have. Yeah,
it separates me, and also it's the right price because you're going factory direct.
Well, that helps for sure.
Yeah, sure. And the other thing too, with custom, those things are good for things that you don't find, but we don't have to do everything custom. I mean, we could do local, like all my woodwork. I have local shops that do it, but I'm talking about. For now, we're doing that castle in Wellington. It's like a whole.
Tell me a little bit about the castle. You mentioned it before. I'm curious. Tell me how big. What's the scope? Who's doing? You don't have to tell who the owner, but what's the? Does it look like an English castle?
Oh, it looks like a castle. It's a replica of an Irish castle from the outside, but the inside, the layout, we designed it so that it has a grand salon. It has a dining room for 24 people. It has eight suites, and we decided when to see the swimming pool. You remember the Versace swimming pool in
I actually rented Casa Cusarina one night
Yes.
for an event, and it is amazing. That pool, it's totally lined
That
with
pool,
tile and
the wall.
it's
Do you know the
mosaic.
wall? Imagine a wall that's 16 feet high by 70 feet long. Okay, and it's going to be done in all glass mosaic.
Wow.
But the theme that we came up for the castle is called the crown jewels. The crown jewels. So the theme is the jewels. So it's going to look like a diamond, an amethyst, ruby, the crown jewels, amethyst with lights going on it. It'll look like jewelry on it.
So a lot of jewel tones throughout.
Yeah, and then we did the suites, like, because they're going to use it as a wedding
So these
venue.
people like color.
Huh?
These people like color.
Well, no, we're not doing color everywhere. Just the pool, the mosaic of the pool.
This is just the pool.
The pool has the color on the mosaics with the lights, like the Versace, but the jewels. But then what we did is, let's say, the guest suites, because they're going to use it as a wedding venue.
So this isn't for them to live in. This is actually a commercial building.
Well, it's residential. It's their home, but they will also rent it out as wedding venue, like for, like the bride with all their
Is it
brides.
on multi-acre property?
Yeah. It's big. It's
Very
big.
nice.
So you have let's call it the ruby suite, the sapphire suite, and of course the master bedroom is a diamond. But we have touches of those colors. It's not like I did everything, ruby. It has just like the crystals on the chandelier. We'll have the ruby color crystal hangings, touches.
Nice.
So that's the theme, and everything else will be neutral. But textures,
It's just amazing. Again, that's a wonderful opportunity to kind of get out there and have
I love it.
fun.
Yeah.
So having worked together many times, what do you think defines a great partnership between the designer, the builder, and the client? How do you view that?
A lot of the times people ask me, do I get my architect first, my designer first, my builder first?
That's a great question.
I get those questions. Should I, and I've had it where I've been the interior designer and they come with a plan, but they don't have an architect to build it, or even the builder.
So if I'm the builder, how early should the designer get involved?
Immediately.
That's what
The
I was hoping
sooner
you would say that, because
the sooner the better. The sooner the better, because the designer, remember, you start from I'm not going to say the top from level, but from the person doing the lifestyle, the person that understands how the person lives, the person that is getting into the more personal things like the pillows, the layout. The designer has to get involved from the beginning, because the space planning of the furniture can determine layout of walls once you know the lifestyle of the person. Like I've had it where we have to move walls, or door openings, all of those things, the ceiling designs, all of those for the mechanical, like I was telling you earlier. The designer needs to get involved together with the architect. Obviously, the designer dictates whatever the style and more or less the lifestyle layout from the interior perspective. The architect is building. I call it they're making the cake.
We call it like the three legs of the stool. I mean, you have the architect, the interior designer, and the builder. The builder, our job is to keep everybody in check, make sure that the vision is matching the budget.
Yes.
The architect is on board listening to the designer.
Yes.
So we play referee sometimes. But also the collaboration and the ideas and the inspiration and the constructability. Can this be built?
Totally.
So I think it's great, and I totally agree. When you bring the designer in at the beginning, it's so critical.
It's the best thing to do. It'll avoid costly mistakes that later you don't have to go back and redo. And what I'm saying a mistake, it could be something that affected something that you did later. So you prevent that. And in my opinion,
we don't want to go backwards.
Right. Then you have to go back and change it when it could have been done from day one. Okay. And to me, designer, architect, and builder, I call it the perfect name. That is the dream team. You put your dream team together from the beginning, you're going to get everything done right from the beginning and avoid going backwards and avoid redoing and undoing. Because if you're all in the same, it's like having an orchestra, you have a symphony. It's not like you're going to have just this guy play the violin and then later you're going to have the guy come and hit it with the drums. I'm just giving you an example.
No, I love it. I love it. It's the cohesion of the team. And it's funny because our very first episode of the Insider's Guide to Custom Homes was building the team. And part of that episode, focus with the episode was your architect, interior designer, builder. Later on, you fold in the landscape architect. You start
True.
talking about your MVPs and your specialty consultants.
Then you bring into that. See, like I couldn't do my job without you, because where am I going to decorate? Land? I need you to build it.
Right. And I also need you, so we know, again, space planning, because
Right.
if the architect does this in a vacuum,
Right.
like you said, what happens when the bed goes in and it doesn't fit here? You have a window in the way.
Right.
I mean, so
Right.
yeah, I think it's so important for the client to bring the team together,
The dream
early,
team.
and whether you bring it, tell them this, or we tell them, or the architect tells them, it's always good for the group to get together, the band to get together at the very beginning, and make sure they play well together in the sandbox, because they have to gel.
I'll find out what sign they are first. No, yeah, the energy and the synergy and the communication must be good from day one, and obviously the client will benefit from all of it.
So when you talk about the client, homeowners, how do you get them to communicate their style and their vision effectively, so you get what they're looking for? How do you pull this out of them?
I listen to everything. I watch body language. I watch body movement. I'll show them books, pictures, and see their reaction. Like you could feel it. I'm doing this 41 years. So if someone's looking at this book, immediately you're going to see their direction just by watching them, number one. Also taking notes. I'll also ask them sometimes if they have any inspiration photos. A lot of times they send me inspiration, ththings they saw, I don't know, on Pinterest. At least I know my channel. I'm going to switch to this channel. So do you build a board for them at the beginning, once you start hearing their things, and like, here's just kind of what I'm getting from you. Are we on the right page? How do you kind of communicate back or give them feedback as to what they've told you, and you're say, okay, am I listening? Am I hearing you properly? How do you do that? What's your methodology? Well, we've done different depending on how large the project is. If it's a house that's going to just get built, obviously the first thing we got to do is get the layout, get all the stuff the architect needs so he can develop all of that together with, budgeting with builder and whatnot, all of that. At least get that right. Then when we get into finishes and fabrics, and I'm going to say wall tile, bathroom design, kitchen design, obviously we would put all the finishes together like in a giant table and show schemes, like this goes with this, and build it up layers. So that whole table is just covered with patterned fabrics and hard surfaces and wood and whatever you're going to use to kind of blend together. The textures, the vibes, the materials, at least when they see that and they touch and feel and they already know their direction. Then comes the last thing will be obviously choosing the pieces of furniture, because that comes once you get I call it the architectural detailing, the interior architectural details, which is feature wall, slabs on the wall, LED, or backlight things, the ceilings, how you're going to do the ceilings, texturized, And then the last thing is the furniture, because the furniture, you already know the pieces from floor. You have a general idea of what's going to go where. And where they kind of sit in the spectrum of style. So, yeah, that's cool. Just moving on to your new show. So you're co-hosting a weekly YouTube show. Home and Soul Harmony. Home and Soul Harmony with Lisa Dwowskin. Yeah. So Lisa Dwowskin, I met her because she actually filmed her own episode called Life Rescue, which is, she's a life coach. And she used to train like a lot of football players and stuff in this area. Maybe your clients, for all I know, some football guys, okay? And she's been doing this for 30, 35 years, life coaching and all of that. Me, I'm doing interior design for 41 years. And we met and we hit it off. And we decided we are the yin and the yang. I've seen an episode. I don't know who's the yin, who's the yang, but we're like totally opposite. She's a Capricorn, we have that. She's earth, I'm fire. So I go, Lisa, you meditate? I'll decorate, because I'm not going to sit there and meditate. It's not me. So we laugh about it. So long story short, the way I see it is you have a life coach giving you the exercise, your meditation and all of that, and putting your soul, at peace and doing all that. So balancing that kind of internal harmony. Exactly. And you're balancing the external harmony. Well, pretty much the person, right? But then what happens when you go home? Your home cannot be a mess. Your home has to be integrated. The environment has to be part of this harmony. Right. Exactly. So that's what we're doing. We're connecting each person's soul with each person's soul, which is what I do. I do it subconsciously, because like what I was telling you, once I know their scheme, so in their home, we will design it based on them and based on, what their needs are, more of a personalized. So that's why it's home and soul harmony. We're harmonizing yourself with your home together, so it's all integrated.
So you're doing this on a public platform. So how's this different than when you work one-on-one? Now you're speaking to your audience.
Oh, when I work one-on-one, I have to understand that one person.
Right.
Exactly. And then as I do get it, obviously their cultural needs, their lifestyle needs, their style. I could just look and see how they're dressed and already kind of know my direction. Like I said, body language. But talk to them, hear them out, look at the actual floor plan and what the needs are. And then based on that, I would suggest certain things like, okay, are you more good with, like, let's call it sunset colors? No, I see you more with, earth colors. I see a lot of textures. You need some organic, for certain people. You like a little more schmouse, a little more jazzy. It just depends on the person.
So now you're in a public platform. How do you kind of reach out across the different strata? I mean, to kind of get your ideas across. What topics and trends do kind of resonate the best with your audience?
Well, I would think people love trends. People get into the trends because, it's like a repetitious thing. They're seeing, like right now with social media. I mean, when I started writing my books, there was no social media back in '96, and I did the books with all the beautiful, whatever designs and photos, and I put it out there. So those were great tools for people to see and come back to me and say, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. And that was their illustration.
So do you give a lot of different flavors on your show? Do you talk about different design styles? Hey, today we're going to talk about modern.
Oh, absolutely.
Next time we're talking a little transitional.
Yes.
Today we're going to talk about something that brings the soul and the body and the mind together in a more Zen fashion.
You got it. Yeah. Right now we've done 10 episodes. Like I just did one where we talked about cultural design. So I did a whole thing on Moroccan design, Moroccan interiors, which is a hot,
How
interior.
many episodes have you done so far?
We've done 10.
Wow. Okay, you're getting
it.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Yeah.
So how do our listeners find and subscribe to Home and Soul Harmony? Is it a YouTube show? Is that
yeah, it's on YouTube right now. Home and Soul Harmony. It'll come up, but we just got started. And then there's this other show that I'm doing that we have 6 episodes ready, which I'm waiting for it to come out. It's called The Decor Diva by Perla Lichi. Now that's a show you guys gotta watch because first of all, I can't do boring. That's my tagline.
We know that.
And what it is design solutions to any interior problem. It's kind of like a reality show, 20-minute show, where you'll see the team working on the design. And like we had this lady that wanted the Zen look.
So this is like you take a real client and you just...
Oh yeah, they're real projects. They're real projects because we filmed from the beginning. When we put the designs together, we go back and see some progress, how it's evolving. And then you get the client's testimonial, how they feel when they got in. You even see them, walking in. And then it's kind of like HGTV, but this is more fun with a twist because there's a lot of unique tricks.
And these are short episodes, would you say
22 minutes. 22-minute episode.
And where do they find this? Also on YouTube or?
YouTube for sure, but it's going to be a Prime TV, Peacock. There's a whole bunch of them. Wow. It's platforms, yeah.
And the name of the show is again?
The Decor Diva by Perla Lichi.
Decor Diva, of course.
The Decor Diva.
So switching gears again, let's talk a little bit about trends. What trends and ideas excite you most in luxury right now? What are you seeing as kind of the trendy thing that gets you excited, gets you going?
Me? Oh wow, that's
if you had your preference to design anything, what would you design today? What would you excite you?
Well, like a 45,000 square foot house would be nice,
They were always nice. There's tons of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I like space. For sure, I like, space. I love having space, but it doesn't have to be big to be beautiful either. You could, do a 2,500 square foot condo, gorgeous, or a penthouse, But what excites me, obviously, trends come and go, but there's always going to be certain things that you always want. And to me, it's luxury materials, luxury textures. Right now, I'm very much into feature walls that are backlit. We're doing a lot of that.
Are you doing this with like marble or
combination? Yeah, like transparent
or something that's I've seen a lot of that.
Yes, like there's cristallo. There's all these different stones you can backlight. Now there's glass that you can backlight. I like kitchen. Kitchen, it's the heart of the home. The best thing I know how to make dinner is reservations. That's about it. But I do design a hell of a kitchen. I love kitchens.
I can't tell you how many kitchens we build.
Oh.
They get used a bit, but mostly, a lot of times they'll have a butler kitchen or a secondary kitchen that they do all their cooking, and the other is the showy kitchen. And
right. It's a show kitchen.
Something special.
But it's always when it's open. I'm into giant islands. I like this different level islands we're doing now, backlit islands. We're doing some of that. I like creating ceilings above the island and just levels. I'm into levels and depth. Obviously, textures, because that's the makeup. I need texture. There's all these different wallpapers that you would never know they're wallpapers. I'm telling you what excites me, and I know people like, because when you show it with everything else put together, people just fall in love with it. Obviously, you need jewelry, chandeliers. There's so much you could do with unique shaped chandeliers where now you connect one room to another. So a lot. Everything excites me. I'm excited now.
Yeah,
talking about it.
I get excited too. And we have a passion for what we do.
Yes.
And you obviously 41 years.
Yes.
I'm actually 43 years in the industry.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we're a similar time. And obviously we love what we do. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. Our entire careers are dedicated to our craft.
Yeah.
And so you're inspired by so many things. I mean, I'm overwhelmed, I think, at a certain point with, just what comes out of your creativity, especially, the new book. And I see things in here that everything's different. I mean, if I looked at your prior book, I think I wouldn't say night and day. It's just a different day. There's always something new and something exciting that we can all come up with. So, any other tidbits you'd like to share with our audience about interior design?
Yeah, I mean, listen, everybody has their version of what they feel interior design is. Every designer, and they will tell you what they feel. I'll tell you what I feel. To me, interior design is like my art. It's like an artist creating a piece of art. And I look at it from the blank canvas to the sketching, to the basic coat painting, to bring in the depth, to bring in the shadows, to bring in the highlights and the finishing touches. That's how I think of a space. Whether it's a closet, a boutique, which we're calling boutiques now, or a kitchen or a complete mansion. And knowing the direction you're going to make that piece of art by first knowing the person and understanding the person is key. And obviously having a dream team, because otherwise you can only dream.
It has to become a reality. So yes, we have to
make it come to reality, and the integration of the three main people together, obviously with client loving it, make their lives easy. We want to make those people move in with their toothbrush and love it, So that's my idea.
Well, Perla, it's been such a pleasure catching up. It always is great getting together with you. Your perspective, your passion, it's truly unmatched. And,
thank you. Always love seeing you.
So where can our listeners explore more about your latest projects, your published books? You have a website for your business where they can kind of learn a little bit more about you?
Sure.
Tell us.
It's easy. It's perlalichi.com. PerlaLichi.com. That's the website. And then, of course, there's always your Instagram at Perla Lichi, at Perla Lichi Design, at the Decor Diva. There's all these different avenues to find me. But it's not the same as if you met me in person. But yeah, go check it out.
Set up with Perla. She's great to meet with. You're going to really get to know her. She's an amazingly interesting person with so much knowledge and
thank you.
And skill in this business.
Thank you.
And again, it's been wonderful having you here today. Thank you so much for being part of our podcast and sharing your knowledge and wisdom with our listeners.
My pleasure. Thank you.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, and subscribe on your favorite platform, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. And don't forget to leave a review. Your feedback helps us reach more listeners who want to understand what truly goes into building a custom home. I'm Rick Bell, and this has been another episode of The Insider's Guide to Custom Homes. Thank you for listening, and remember, let's build your masterpiece the landmark way. Stay tuned and enjoy the journey.